You know that feeling like your foot is on fire, especially at night when you lie down and all you wanted was to rest? You turn off the lights, try to find a good position, and suddenly it starts. A burning sensation inside, as if the foot were too hot, throbbing, bothering you even with a touch of the bedsheet. Some people reach a point where they can't even stand the blanket touching them. And then the mind races. What is this? Will it get worse? Am I going to be like this forever? I want to tell you something very directly. When this shows up after 60, it's almost always a sign that the nerves down there are irritated, inflamed, out of balance. It's not fussiness. It's not drama. And it's not in your imagination. It's like the body is sending out an alert. Look here, something is going on with my electrical system. And the detail is that this kind of burning usually gets worse precisely when you stop. During the day, you're distracted. You walk around, you do your things. But at night, in the silence, the discomfort takes over. The skin becomes sensitive. The foot seems restless, and sleep goes away. And poor sleep, becomes a cycle. The next day we wake up more tired, more irritable, with less patience, and the body seems even more irritated. Now, with no miracle promises and no talk of a magic cure, I'm going to show you a simple, routine strategy that many people use to help bring down that inner fire. The idea here is not just to cover up the pain signal for a few hours. It's to work on what is usually feeding the nerve irritation, inflammation, and blood sugar spikes, which are two things that become more common over the years. And there is one food that has become the center of this conversation for a very specific reason. But there's a classic mistake. People do use this food, but they use it in a way the body can barely take advantage of. Then they conclude it doesn't work and give up. What changes the game is a detail of combination, and that's what I'm going to explain to you clearly. First, I'll tell you exactly how this food works, why it makes sense when the topic is burning nerves, and how some everyday habits and foods might be making everything worse without you realizing it. Then, I'll give you the most important part, the easy preparation, the practical routine, and how to enhance it so it fits into your real life without complication, without fear-mongering, and without depending on heroic willpower. If your feet burn more at night, and that's stealing your rest, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear may be the start of a much smoother turnaround in your day-to-day life. When the foot starts to burn after 60, many people describe it as fire inside, and there's a very simple logic to that. The nerve is like a wire that carries information from your foot to the brain. It sends signals of cold, heat, touch, pressure. But when the foot becomes irritated, it starts to send the wrong signal. Then the brain receives an exaggerated message and interprets it as burning, stinging, shocks, stabs, or that annoying sensitivity where even the bedsheet feels aggressive. Think of a house alarm. If it's working well, it goes off when someone opens the door. But if it has a bad connection, it goes off out of nowhere in the middle of the night with no one there. An inflamed nerve is more or less like that. It goes off for no reason or overreacts to a small stimulus. That's why a light touch is so uncomfortable. And that's why it usually gets worse at night. Your body is quiet. There's less distraction. And any signal becomes the center of attention. Now, why does this nerve get like that? Most of the time, it's not just one thing. It's a combination. More inflammation in the body, more chemical stress on the cells, and, very commonly, blood sugar spikes over time. Even people who don't consider themselves diabetic can have glucose highs and lows that irritate the nerves. You know that pattern of eating bread, cookies, pasta, sweets, and then 2 hours later, feeling tired or strangely hungry? Often, there's a sugar spike and drop happening, and nerves don't like that up and down. Repeated high sugar has an effect that can be understood with an image. It's like it sticks to sensitive parts of the body and gradually causes damage. It doesn't happen overnight. It's wear and tear. Over time, this environment irritates the nerves and also disrupts the tiny circulation that feeds these regions. The result: the nerve becomes more sensitive, more reactive, and starts to scream more. And here comes the part almost no one explains calmly. There's a difference between just dulling the discomfort and helping to reduce the fire that fuels the problem. Some people use resources that make the sensation more bearable, and that can be necessary. But if daily life keeps pushing inflammation and sugar spikes into the body, the nerve keeps getting provoked. It's like wearing noise-canceling headphones at a construction site you hear less, but the construction is still there. That's why the strategy I'm going to show you revolves around reducing that noise. At this inflammation and constant irritation. And here comes the main food in our script. Turmeric, the famous golden spice. A lot of people know it by name, have seen it in recipes, have taken it in capsules, and still didn't feel any difference. And it's not because it's useless. Most of the time, it's because the person used it in a way the body can hardly absorb. Inside turmeric, there's a part that draws the most attention. That's what's usually linked to the effect of helping calm inflammation. But there's a practical problem. Our body doesn't absorb curcumin well when it comes alone. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a leaky cup. You pour it in, but most of it leaks out along the way. People take turmeric any old way. Sometimes just a pinch in coffee, or a weak capsule, or use it one day and skip 3 and expect a big result. Then comes the frustration. Oh, this doesn't work for me. The trick is in 2 things that completely change absorption: black pepper and healthy fat. Simple as that. Black pepper has a substance that helps the body not waste the curcumin so quickly. Put in everyday terms, it helps curcumin last longer in the body and have a better chance of being absorbed. And the healthy fat matters because curcumin mixes better with fat than with water. If you just throw turmeric in a glass of water, it passes right through. But if it goes along with the fat, it hitchhikes, and the body tends to absorb it better. That's why, when we talk about this food, it's not just turmeric. It's turmeric the right way. Turmeric plus black pepper plus a fat source. That trio is what makes practical sense. And notice how this fits with real life. Traditional recipes that use turmeric almost always include some type of fat olive oil, coconut milk, ghee, oil, and also have pepper or similar spices. People learn through cooking, through trial and error, what science later explained. And why can this help specifically with foot burning? Because when the nerve is irritated, it's living in a hot environment. High inflammation, lots of irritating substances circulating, and cells suffering from stress. When you reduce that inflammatory mess, the nerve may stop reacting so much. It doesn't become brand new overnight, but it can become less jumpy, fewer random discharges, less exaggerated sensitivity, less constant burning feeling. Many people notice that the night becomes more tolerable when they get the consistency and use right. But here's an important point. This food doesn't work alone if, on the other hand, you keep fueling the fire. And that's why I want to speak, very honestly, about what usually worsens this type of burning. The first group is what isolates causes sugar spikes: sweets, sodas, industrial juices, desserts, white bread, cookies, regular, pasta, large amounts of rice, without fiber. I'm not saying you can never eat any of this again. Life doesn't work like that. What I'm showing you is the pattern. The more spikes, the more irritation for a body that's already more sensitive. It's like poking sunburned skin. The problem isn't one isolated touch. It's poking it every day. The second group is ultra-processed foods and frequent fried foods. Chips, cold cuts, ready meals, sandwich cookies, things that combine flour, sugar, low-quality oil, and additives. These tend to inflame the body as a whole. And when the body is inflamed, the nerve becomes inflamed too. You may not notice it right away, but the overall effect adds up: more swelling, more heaviness, more nighttime discomfort. The third point is frequent alcohol. Some people tolerate it better, others get much worse. But after 60, the body generally becomes less resistant to this type of irritation. And alcohol also disrupts sleep, and poor sleep is a pain multiplier. It's not moralizing. It's an observation of patterns. People who already have sensitive nerves often notice a difference when they reduce frequency. And there's a fourth silent villain that few people consider: snacking latte, especially on sweets or flour-based foods, and then going straight to bed. This encourages nighttime sugar spikes and keeps the body working while you're trying to sleep. And guess when the burning usually gets worse? Exactly when you lie down. Many people improve just by adjusting the timing and quality of the last snack. Now, here comes a part that's worth gold. Lack of turmeric isn't the cause of the problem, as if it were a missing vitamin. And boom, your foot burned. That's not it. What happens is that without a consistent anti-inflammatory routine, the body stays in an irritated mode longer. And turmeric, used the right way, can be a simple tool within that routine. It's a daily support, not a magic button. And more. Using it the wrong way gives the impression that it's useless. The person buys it, puts a pinch on the plate once a week, doesn't use pepper, doesn't use fat, doesn't build a habit, and then concludes, it's just talk. What I want is to get you out of that trap, because when you understand the simple mechanism, better absorption with pepper and fat, and consistent use, you stop relying on luck. And I need to add a respectful caution here. If you already use medication for nerve pain, diabetes, blood pressure, or blood thinners, you shouldn't change anything on your own. The idea here is habit support. If you decide to include this in your routine and notice improvement, great. But any medication adjustment is a conversation with your healthcare provider. The goal is for you to have more tools, more control, more understanding of your own body. So remember this phrase: it's not turmeric, it's turmeric the right way. And remember another: there's no point in putting out the fire with one hand and throwing gasoline with the other. In the next step, I'm going to show you exactly how to turn this into a routine without complication. The easiest ways to prepare it, how to fit it into your day, how to enhance it with small food choices, and how to track results in a simple way, without anxiety and without paranoia, just with clarity. The difference between trying once and truly giving your body a chance to respond is routine. And routine here doesn't mean turning your life upside down. It means choosing an easy way to use turmeric every day, the right way, without relying on motivation. Remember the trio: turmeric plus black pepper plus a fat sauce. That's the central point. If you get that right and stay consistent, you stop tossing in a random pinch and start doing something your body can actually absorb. The first step is choosing the format you can stick with the most. I'll give you 3 simple options. You pick one and stick with it for at least 2 weeks, without jumping from method to method. The first option is the most common for people who suffer more at night: a hot drink before bed, like golden milk. It works well because the burning usually gets worse in bed, and creating this nightly habit becomes almost a calming ritual. You warm up a cup of milk, can be regular or plant-based. No need to boil it. Then mix 1 teaspoon of turmeric, a generous pinch of black pepper. You don't need much, but it must be present, and a fat source. It can be 1 teaspoon of coconut oil, or a bit of olive oil, or a small spoon of clarified butter, or even a spoon of creamier yogurt once the drink is warm. If you want to improve the flavor, you can add cinnamon, a small piece of ginger, or a touch of honey, but the engine of it is turmeric plus pepper plus fat. The second option is for those who don't like drinks. Use it as a daily seasoning in food. The rule is the same. Turmeric dosen tagoi alone. You choose a dish of the day and turn it into the turmeric dish. It could be scrambled eggs, sautéed vegetables, soup, chicken, fish, rice with veggies, lentils, whatever you already eat. You add turmeric, black pepper, and cook with a healthy fat olive oil, coconut oil, butter, or another you already use. The advantage of this method is that it becomes part of the meal and you don't even notice you're doing something. It's just cooking the right way. The third option is for those who like a quick morning routine smoothie. You can make a simple smoothie with fruit and a healthy fat, which already helps stabilize energy. Example, banana or mango, milk or plant-based drink, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, black pepper, and a spoonful of peanut or almond butter or yogurt. That's where the fat comes in, and the flavor of turmeric is much easier to accept when mixed with fruit. Now comes an important part: dosage and consistency. No need to overdo it. For most people, 1 teaspoon a day is already an excellent start. Some people use 2, but it's not a competition. What makes the difference is not taking a lot one day and forgetting the next. It's the opposite. A little every day. And if you have a sensitive stomach, it's best to start with half of that for a few days and increase slowly. Your body has to accept the routine, or else you'll quit. And how to boost this without complicating things? I like to think in 3 levers. How you take it, what you do alongside it, and what you avoid more often. The first lever you already understand. Combining turmeric with black pepper and fat. No need to just don't fail on the basics. Many people toss turmeric in water, and that's it. Then they feel no difference. Or they use a random capsule, not knowing if it's well absorbed. If you go the supplement route, look for one that already includes an absorption component. Many formulas include piperine, which is the compound in black pepper. Taking it with a meal that has some fat usually helps. The second lever is what you do alongside it to avoid feeding the underlying problem. For many people with burning feet, sugar spikes are a huge trigger, so a simple adjustment enhances everything. When you eat something with carbs, try to include protein and fiber. Protein can be eggs, yogurt, fish, chicken, tofu, beans. Fiber can be vegetables, leafy greens, seeds, legumes. This helps sugar rise more slowly, and more stable sugar usually means less overall irritation in the body. And here, as support, come those other top-ranking foods without turning it into a new diet. You can use 2 of them as quiet foundations. For example, include a serving of leafy greens in 1 meal a day. Could be in a salad, soup, sautéed, however you prefer, and add a small handful of walnuts or another nut as a snack or on top of your food. These are simple things that, in practice, help the body get the raw materials and a less inflamed environment. Ginger can also be a good support for some people, especially when there's a feeling of stiffness, cold, extremities, or general discomfort. A mild ginger tea or a small grated piece in food can easily become part of your routine, but don't turn it into too much. The focus is still turmeric the right way. The third lever is what you avoid more often. I'm not talking about banning anything. I'm talking about noticing patterns. For many people, The worst combination is eating sweets, cookies, bread, pasta, or ultra-processed food at the end of the day, and going to sleep. This can increase the chance of a bad night. So a powerful adjustment is to take care of your last snack. If you feel hungry at night, a better option is usually something with protein and healthy fat, creamy or yogurt, some nuts, a piece of cheese, or fruit with peanut butter. That tends to cause less of a roller coaster than dessert or sugary snacks. Now, how do you know if it's working for you? In the simplest way possible, by tracking what matters without drama. Before you start, choose a scale from 0 to 10. For the burning, 0 is nothing. 10 is that night when you can't stand the touch of the sheet. Write down today's number. And also, write down to things about your sleep. How many times you wake up because of the discomfort, and how long it takes to fall asleep. Then follow the routine for 2 days and observe. Some people notice changes early. Less constant fire, less sensitivity, fewer wake-ups. Others take longer. The goal of the first 48 hours isn't for everything to disappear. It's to see if the direction is improving. Then you continue for 1 or 2 weeks to see consistency. And there's an emotional detail here that helps a lot. When the body gives a small sign of improvement, we tend to get anxious and start testing everything at once. Then it becomes a mess, and you don't know what helped. That's why I recommend choose one main method, night drink, daily seasoning, or smoothie, and stick to it. Only adjust after 10 to 14 days, if needed. Also worth an important note, if you take medications, especially blood thinners, or if you have strong reflux gastritis, it's best to start with a smaller dose and observe your body. If anything gets worse, pause and talk to a professional who follows your case. The idea here is safe support, not pushing through. If you've made it this far, the main message is very simple. When your feet burn after 60, most of the time the body isn't making up pain. It's warning you that the nerves are irritated and that there's a small fire happening inside. And the longer that fire stays lit, the more easily it becomes a bigger problem. Bad nights, more sensitivity, more discomfort while walking, and that feeling that you're always fighting your own body. The good news is that, in most cases, it's possible to start changing the picture with very simple and consistent steps. You don't need a kitchen revolution. You need a plan you can actually stick with. The core of this plan is an idea many people miss because of a small detail. It's not about using turmeric once in a while. It's using turmeric the right way, which is turmeric plus black pepper plus a fat source every day. That trio is what helps the body absorb it better. Without that, many people try, see no result, and give up too soon. From there, everything becomes easier to organize. You pick a method that fits your routine. A warm drink at night, using it as a seasoning in food, or putting it in a morning smoothie. The best method is always the one you'll do without suffering. And along with that, you boost it with basic choices that help the body stay less inflamed. Adding vegetables regularly, including a small portion of nuts if you can, and reducing sugar spikes, especially at the end of the day, when the burning usually gets worse. And here's what I most recommend. Stop relying on memory alone. Do it the simple way. Now, if you want to turn this into something really consistent, make a short commitment. 30 days, one fixed method per day, without switching all the time. The idea is to give your body time to respond and for you to notice patterns. What improves your night and what makes it worse. And if this guide helped you, do one simple thing. Write down today's number and the number in 2 days. That's how you go from I think to I know. And if you're using this in video or audio format, invite the person to share the result. I started at 8. After 2 days, I was at 6, for example. This helps other people going through the same problem in silence. Burning feet don't have to be a life sentence. Your body is asking for attention, not panic. Start with the basics. Stay consistent. Observe your progress and adjust calmly. One step a day, the right way, might be exactly what was missing for you to sleep better again and live more peacefully.